So in this tutorial, we're going to be bringing in some text effects that we do in After Effects and import those into Flash. You can do this with both programs, but After Effects, it's easier to set this up and just bring it into Flash than it is to animate this whole thing in Flash. So let's start off by going and creating a new composition, and we want to start off with the same width, height, and frame rate as our Flash document, and we'll set an initial duration of 10 seconds, but we'll turn that down in a couple of minutes. So go ahead and hit OK, and we get our stage here. And what we're going to do is grab the text tool and type what we want to animate here in the middle. There we go. Whoops. Fix this real quick. Alright, there we go. So we'll position this on the screen where we want it. Stick it right in the middle there. And we'll go down to the timeline and we'll toggle this, and we're going to hit the animate button here because we're going to animate this. So we're going to apply a couple of these properties to this text, but we're going to start with scale first. And when we click that, you see that we have a couple of options that come within. So we want to start with a range selector, and we're going to give ourselves a beginning range. It's kind of like setting up a keyframe for the beginning of the animation and then a keyframe for the end of the animation. So the one we want is offset here. So we'll click the select box and we'll come out to 2 seconds in the timeline, and I'll select this again, and I will bring this value up to 100%. And this will make sense about what we're doing with this in just a minute. So I'll click back on this first time range selector there and move my time back to the beginning. And we'll toggle that back. Let me make the selection here for scale. We'll add a keyframe in here, and we'll bring the scale of this text up to about 800, 800 or 900. Alrighty, there we go. And we want to add a couple other factors to this as well. We want to add in, as well as the scale, we want to do the opacity, and I'll select that as well. We'll start out with an opacity of 0. So as I scrub through this, you'll see that the text is then animating. Now you could do this in Flash as well, but it would take a lot more time because you'd have to control each of these letters and animate them individually, versus with After Effects you can set it up and do this all at once. So that makes it really nice and easy to use. So I'll add in another property here. Let's add in rotation and add in keyframe, and we'll make this rotate once, so 360 degrees. And I'll scrub through this again, and you see that the letters are coming in. Alright, looks good. And let's do another one. Let's add so that on the left side we want the letters to come in from the left and then kind of scroll across the screen and come in from the right. And we do that by doing the position. There we go. And we're actually going to tween from the beginning to the end. So I'll grab this first property here, and you see that I'm sliding that position across. Go to about 300 here, negative 300. And I'll come out to my 2 second mark over here, and I will check that again, and we'll do positive 300. There we go. And now when I scrub through the timeline, you can see that the letters are coming out from different areas across the screen. Now I think I need to increase my scale a little bit more, so I'll come back here and bump that up just a little bit, and we'll scrub through that one more time. There we go. Alright, so I'll come to the end of the animation here, and I'll hit the N key on my keyboard, which ends. There we go. And now that ends my work area, and now we're going to go into composition and trim comp to work area. So now instead of a 10-second movie, I basically have a 2-second movie with my text going across the screen. Alright. Let's go ahead and render this out. One thing to note is that you can save these text effects that you do. You can come up to your animator here, click on that. Well, I'll do that real quick for you. Animator, and we'll go to Effects and Presets, and I will go and save my animation preset. Here's my preset folder. I'll just make a new folder and call it Bends Effects, and go ahead and save my text effects here in this folder. Now if I need to use this filter again, it's already loaded up and we'll be good to go. So let's export this out. We'll go to File and we'll go to Export, and we're going to want to save this one as the SWF file and not the Flash video. Okay, so we'll render it out as an SWF, and we'll save this as text effect, and we'll save it to the desktop and hit save. Now when this setting comes up, we want to ignore unsupported features, and basically what we're telling After Effects is that we don't want it to export any JPEGs or raster elements. So we don't need to set a JPEG quality up here, just like there's no audio in the file, so we won't select audio here. We'll go ahead and hit OK, and it'll render out. So let's open up Flash now. We have a new Flash document, and let's go ahead and insert a new symbol, and we'll name it a movie clip, and we'll call it Text Effect. Alright, shows up here, and I'll click on the very first keyframe in the very first frame, and I will import to stage. I'll go ahead and grab my text effect SWF off my desktop and import that in. And now if I just play through, you can see that the text effects continues to animate. So let's go back to scene 1 here, and I will drag my movie clip onto the stage. There we go. And I want to line up this crosshair with my 0, point, which is actually in my upper left hand corner right there. So if I go to Test Movie, there's my text coming into Flash. And it's going to continue to loop until we open that movie clip and attach a stop action to it. So let's do that. We'll open up the movie, we'll create a new layer, we'll go out to the end frame, and we'll insert a blank keyframe, and go to the actions, and we'll add a stop action to that. So this will play through once and then stop on frame 25. Alright, let's go ahead and test movie and just verify that. There we go, looks good. Alright, one last thing is just a little house cleaning here. When you bring in that text effect, it brings in all these symbols, and those are all elements that are necessary to create that animation. Text effect symbols, and I'll just select those pieces and just drag them in to the text effect symbol folder there. That way we can keep track of everything, and if we need to get to it, we can find it, but our library is still very usable. Okay.